Miss Briana Brown Watson. She's a resident of Fairview, Tennessee, and is a mental health advocate and the sole survivor of a suicide attempt from Natchez Trace Bridge in Franklin, Tennessee. In 2016, she jumped from the 155-foot tall bridge, but survived, miraculously, attributing her survival to the trees that broke her fall. Following her recovery, Briana has dedicated herself to suicide prevention and mental health advocacy. She has been instrumental in the Natchez Trace Bridge Barrier Coalition, which successfully advocated for the installation of a temporary barrier on the bridge to prevent further suicides. Briana has shared her journey on various platforms, including here at TASA previously, where she discussed her experiences and the importance of mental health support. Through her advocacy, Briana aims to raise awareness about mental health issues and provide support to those that are in crisis. So please give a warm TASA welcome to Miss Briana Brown Watson.
Good afternoon. Hello, everyone. Before I tell you my story, I want to ask you to do something for me. I want you to close your eyes and think back to a time when you felt alone. But not just alone. Alone in a deep hole that you dug yourself into with no way to climb out. And seeing your friends and family at the top peering in is like looking into the distance of the coastline at the beach. It's there, but it's out of your grasp. That hole is dark and cold. It's scary, hopeless, and lonely. And that feeling is how you wake up every day and how you go to sleep every night. This is the feeling of depression. You can open your eyes. Now, I want to tell you my story today. It is a story of loneliness, unconditional love, and grace. I had a pretty normal childhood. I grew up with 2 loving parents and a little sister. This is my family, my little sister, and she used to drive me absolutely crazy, but now she is my best friend. I played the cello in youth orchestras from the age of 9, went to church every Sunday, did well in school, and stayed out of trouble. I always got the bright side of things. My mom used to refer to me as her sunshine girl. Music became a huge part of my life. I took private lessons, played in the prestigious youth orchestra, and would beg my mom to take me to the symphony every chance possible. This is my cello. Spent a lot of time together. As time went by in high school, the thought of going to college was thrilling. My life in high school and my experiences gave me the feeling that preparation for college wasn't an issue, and I was ready to persevere towards my dream job. But as college progressed and the challenges that arose with it, things changed. College is something that no one can perfectly prepare for, and that is safe to say the same about being a music major. I found myself in that hole that we talked about earlier. I was no longer the sunshine girl that I once was. I had a constant fear of being measured up and comparing myself to my peers. It started off small. Cello lessons became stressful, and I had performance anxiety that rapidly became crippling. I had deteriorated practice. Little things in everyday life became major obstacles. Trying to find parking or going grocery shopping seemed impossible in the sense that I felt as though I couldn't handle any task, and they were all too big for my overwhelmed soul. On the outside, my face said that I was my normal happy self and that everything was fine. But I didn't let anyone know that I was crumbling on the inside. I couldn't tell my parents that I was barely able to get out of bed some days. Some days were better than others, though. They would range from dark and gloomy to foggy and dull. I had mastered hiding my depression from my parents and friends. And all the things that were supposed to help, I did them. I went to therapy, I saw a psychiatrist, and I talked to my family. But I was never fully honest with anyone about how bad things really were. In the beginning of my junior year, I was told that I was not good enough to be a music therapist. My heart and dreams were shattered. Being a music therapist was the only thing I could see my future as. I was doing well in all my classes and had a good relationship with my professors. I couldn't wrap my head around it. After being forced to change my major, I was in all new classes that I was no longer passionate about. In March that year, my good friend and roommate attempted suicide. My depression had spiraled out of control, and my anxiety was crippling. I felt like a shell of the person that I once was. I couldn't go to class, and I failed nearly every one of them. I came home for the summer after my junior year and was home for 10 days. On May 13, 2016, I attempted suicide. That morning, I told my parents I was going to go get coffee, but I didn't come back. My mother quickly realized that something was very wrong. My parents had called the police, and they went out to look for me. They went to areas around town that I used to visit often, but didn't find me. Someone had told them to go check at the Natchez Trace Bridge. This is the Natchez Trace Bridge, if you're not familiar. It's located in Franklin. It is 155 feet tall and was constructed in 1994. I used to visit there with friends from out of town and show them the beauty and immensity of the area. You can see for miles each direction. As my mother drove out of the neighborhood, she sat at the stoplight and asked God where she should go. She could turn left and go to downtown Franklin, or she could turn right and go to the bridge. My mother drove out to the bridge and found my car parked in front of the sign for the suicide hotline number. She ran up and down the bridge, calling my name. She was in disbelief that this could be reality. A sheriff's deputy was at the bridge and called for the search team to come assist. I attempted suicide off the Natchez Trace Parkway Bridge in Franklin, Tennessee. No one else has ever survived a jump off that bridge, but here I am. There have been 42 deaths at the bridge. I am so blessed to be here today. After surviving a fall of over 100 feet, the result was seen in the fact that most of my upper body was broken. This was from my second day in the trauma unit at Vanderbilt. My injuries included a cracked pelvis, fractures in every vertebrae except C6, broken shoulder blades, broken left lower arm and right upper arm, internal bleeding on the spleen and the liver, a collapsed lung, and a brain bleed on my brainstem. When the search team found me, I was conscious, but obviously I was in critical shape. I was transported via Vanderbilt Life Flight to Vanderbilt Hospital. Without the perfect and precise care of the first responders and everyone involved, I would not be here today. I woke up in the hospital, and the first thing I said to my parents was, "You must hate me now." But they didn't hate me. was still with them. I spent nearly a month at Vanderbilt Hospital and Stalwart Rehab, and my recovery process was remarkably fast. From the first moments at the bridge to my time at Vanderbilt Hospital, the care that I received was impeccable. This was from my time at Stalwart Rehab, where I had to relearn a lot of gross motor functions and relearn how to walk and things like that. The staff were so kind to me and my family. They comforted my parents when they were concerned about the future. I don't think that there is a way to ever properly show appreciation to all the workers and first responders for your incredible work. To say that I am blessed to stand here before you today and share my story is an understatement. This second chance has given me a sense of duty to share my story and spread awareness about suicide prevention. These are my parents and the amazing lifeline nurses that trained for me that day. I am here to be a voice for the 42 people that have lost their lives at the bridge, the countless others that have considered taking their lives, and for the first responders that work so hard to help others. I've had the opportunity to share my story in different capacities over the years. Most recently, I was a guest on the TASA Leadership podcast with Eric Klaus. I'm sure a lot of you know Eric from his great work, and I highly recommend following his podcast. I am proud to say that there is now a new temporary barrier at the bridge, and a permanent barrier will begin construction in the next few years. Since the temporary barrier's construction in 2022, there have been no completed suicides at the bridge. It's amazing. Many are working today on the verbiage around suicide. The term committed suicide is commonly used in regard to taking one's life. The image of committed is stigmatizing as it implies that someone is criminal or immoral and has committed an offense. Attempting suicide was a crime for years and still is a crime today in 25 countries. The proper term is to say that someone died by suicide. No one says that someone committed cancer. We would say that someone died from cancer because it is a disease and an illness. Suicide is a tragic outcome of many complex factors with lasting impacts. It is never about success or failure. It is not something to achieve or finish like a task or project. Changing the language to use factual and respectful words makes this difficult discussion more approachable. And the more we talk about it, the hope is that there's less occurrence in the future. My mission is to make resources common knowledge to those who might be struggling with any type of mental health. Please join forces with me in spreading awareness of the suicide hotline number. It was once a 1-800 number that had to be searched on the internet and is now a simple 988. The significant and impactful change was made in 2022 thanks to the National Suicide Hotline Designation Act. 988 is a national hotline offering confidential one-on-one support for mental health, suicide, and substance use-related problems for anyone 24/7. No matter where you are in the United States, you can call or text the number 988 or chat online and be connected with skilled, compassionate crisis counselors. 988 receives approximately 300,000 contacts each month. That is nearly 7 contacts each minute. Please share this with anyone that you think might benefit from this. Let's make 988 common knowledge, just like 911. A lot of time had passed for me to realize that I had tried to end my life. I called it my accident. Realizing it was my on purpose took healing and growing. I felt so hopeless and lonely that I thought it would be better to go away than to have my friends and family disappointed in me. The miracle of surviving the jump is eclipsed by the miracle of feeling whole and happy again. This is my husband. We were married in May of last year, and we are now expecting our first child. After countless hours of both therapy and soul searching, I know that there is hope. The looming feeling isn't forever, and that everyone, no matter how lonely they feel, have people that want them and need them to stay. Thank you guys for everything you do.